my name is Kyle Hubrick, and I'm going to show you how we train dogs and do our brain games, skills games, shaping games here at Paws at Home. And the first thing that we like to do before we get started with shaping games is go for a little walk. That way the dog can kind of get their wiggles out, because if they already have lots of wiggles, they're going to have a hard time focusing on their training. So what we'll do is just kind of do a quick little walk and potty break to start. I'll show you the kit that we're always wearing when we're doing shaping games, and whenever we have dog visits, we'll be wearing the treat bag. And I like to keep that, since I'm right-handed, I like to keep the treat bag clipped onto me on my left side. That way I can quickly grab treats and keep them in my left hand. And then I hold the leash like this with 3 fingers, and then I keep the clicker in between my thumb and index finger, so I can really quickly do the click and treat. Your timing is really important when you're doing clicker training. It should always be click and then treat as fast as possible. And then you should also keep your treats behind your back. That way the treats are kind of out of the situation, and the dog is not necessarily just going towards the treats or distracted by the treats. Now we're going to talk about the type of treats, and Jed is really food motivated, so we just use his kibble. With dogs that maybe won't work so hard for their kibble, we'll use natural balance roll food, cut it into little pea-sized portions. The trick with clicker training is you want to use really small treats, maybe like pea-sized treats, and you try to find something that is motivating enough for your dog to get them to do the desired action. Another thing that you can use if you don't want to use treats is you can use play. You can reward a dog with a toy rather than a treat, but a lot of times you'll see the progress in shaping behaviors to be a little bit slower. That can vary from dog to dog. If your dog is really into toys, you might see those behaviors happening just as fast as you would see with a small little treat.
Okay, so while I was editing this, I thought of a lot of stuff that I wanted to add, but I don't have video for all of it. So I found this really awesome screenshot of myself and put this in the background during all of my asides. They're gonna come in every now and again. Hopefully they're not too annoying, but the information that I added, I think you're really gonna like, and it's gonna help you understand what's behind all this clicker business. So hopefully it's not too annoying. It'll just come in now and again. Now back to the video.
I want to talk a little bit about why we use clickers. You can actually get a behavior shaped 40% faster with a clicker. And the reason for that is it's a unique sound in your dog's environment that tells them that they did the right thing
in that moment. Now, this is opposed to using a verbal bridge such as good or yes, which also works, but just know that it's going to be a little bit slower. And that's because us as humans, we say a lot of different things all the time to our dogs. So while dogs can learn a lot of different words, they might get a little bit confused and it might be a little bit jumbled in their mind when we say good or good. Those inflections can be misinterpreted by our dogs as 2 different things. So it just takes more time when you use verbal bridges alone. I personally like using the clicker because I get results almost twice as fast with it. I have more fun while I use the clicker because those results are happening a lot faster. Your dog has more fun, you're gonna have more fun. Your neighbors are gonna look at you funny because they don't understand what the clicker is all about, but it doesn't matter because it's almost like magic how quickly your dog is gonna pick up new behaviors and pick up the clicker.
When you're working with clicker training, you'll see dogs that are checking in with you and trying different behaviors to actually get that click. So it's something that the dog can understand on their level, and it's a great way to have that 2-way communication between you and your dog. There's nothing really special about the click itself, besides the fact that it's a unique sound in your dog's environment.
For example, in dolphin training, where this style of training originates from, they used underwater speakers and whistles as a bridge. So again, it was just a unique sound. A little aside, this style of training was made famous by Karen Pryor, a famous animal behaviorist and dolphin trainer back in the 60s. She has a great book called Don't Shoot the Dog. If you haven't checked it out, please do. It's where all of this style of training has originated from. And her work is based in even more fundamental science that was developed by B.F. Skinner in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. What we're working with is the idea that if we reward a behavior, that behavior will occur more often. So that's the fundamentals of what we're trying to do. Reward a behavior that we want, and that behavior is going to show up more and more in your dog, cat, or other pet. One of the coolest things about this style of training is it actually works across species. So these same techniques will work with cats, dogs, dolphins, fish, hermit crabs, your boss, your wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend. But if you're training your boss or your significant other, I recommend that you don't use the clicker and you don't tell them that you're training them. Now, just a little bit more about Karen Pryor. You can also check out her website, and that's KarenPryor.com, KarenPryor.com. At the top, there's a yellow bar. You can click on library, and there's an entire resource library with a ton of really good articles in there that go in depth with all of this. I don't get paid to talk about Karen Pryor's website at all, but I learned everything I know from her work, and I got to put the promo in there. Why she's not on TV and Cesar Millan is a mystery to me, because Karen Pryor gets results, and you don't have to hurt your dog to do it. You don't have to break down your dog. You're actually building up your dog's feelings, and you're becoming a partner with your dog, rather than trying to build up some sort of form of control over your dog. So it's a way better way of working with your dog, making them happy, and really building a deeper connection with your pets. It's great.
All right, and now that we have all that background, let's get started shaping. The first thing that you'll do is actually load the clicker. So what you're doing is you're connecting the sound of this bridge to a reward. So what we'll do is we'll just click and treat 10 times. What you'll see in a dog that hasn't been clicker trained is at first they're just like, oh yeah, this is kind of interesting. I'm getting some treats. But then you'll start to see, once they start to get it, they'll whip their head right towards you. And that's when you can see that they're connecting the click and the treat. So maybe we'll get Jed a little bored and look away, so you can see that head whip. There's that head whip right there, and that's what you're looking for. And he's gonna think this is super fun because he is getting treats for nothing. And you know what? He's already putting together that looking away gets him a treat. And that's because we've been working with him. It really is like magic. And since right now, even though I'm showing you how to load the clicker, Jed is seeing this as training looking away, we'll stick with that, because you should always train one thing at a time. Otherwise it's a little confusing for your dog. You want to get your treat rate up to 10 to 12 times per minute. And there we go. I had to look away. I was a little off in my timing there. And another look away. You'll also notice while I'm loading the clicker, I'm not resetting the dog by throwing it off into the distance.